In the last session, we unpacked some thoughts on productivity versus relationships. It is possible to have a good, healthy rhythm where you're accomplishing great things and attending to all of the important relationships in your circle of influence. And in this session, I want to give you some practical advice on how you can find that greater balance, to find that place where it doesn't have to be productivity versus relationships, but it can actually be productivity and relationships. Hey there, I'm Ryan Franklin, and this is Church Leader Made Simple, and I'm here to help you get the clarity needed to move your church forward. I'd love for you to join me weekly. Just hit the subscribe button and the bell to get notified as soon as I post a new session. And without any further delay, let's get to it. Now, this subject can be quite complicated. It can go as deep as you want it to go. But we're going to try to keep it somewhat simple and practical. And so here's the first tip in moving towards balance. Number one, grow your awareness. Grow your awareness of where you stand on the spectrum of productivity and relationships. Awareness can really help you in a great way. In the last session, I encourage you to spend a few minutes talking to the three people who are closest to you. And if you haven't done that, that's your first step. Many times we're blinded to how we really come across to people. And so these are the people that have a good read on what reality looks like in your life when it comes to productivity and relationships. Now, you have to make sure that you're open to whatever they say, even if it's not what you really want to hear. And I know that's tough, but it's what you really need. And so talking to them, if they're truthful, talking to those closest to you can really be valuable knowledge to understand where you really are. And this does two things. One, you get the feedback, and two, it makes you move in closer to people who are in your inner circle with vulnerability and transparency. And I know that's tough for some of you, but this is a pretty simple exercise, and it's important to start with small steps, so make sure you do this. Oh, and don't use your spouse for this one. Talk to a few others as well. It's amazing how our spouses can even become a little bit desensitized on how we're coming across to others because they're around us all of the time. And so once you've identified what side of the spectrum you're on, the second tip is this. Number two, make decisions to go against your natural grain. My natural tendency is to move away from people and move towards productivity. I'm a highly prudent person. I get engrossed in my work. I have a high task mastery. I can also enter into a high perfectionism mode. And because of this, I can accomplish great things, but when I'm tired and I'm stressed and I'm not compensating well, I may actually push people away and detach from people as I'm getting lots of things done. I'm aware of my tendencies, and so there's times that I need to push off my to-do list, and I need to be a little more impulsive, and I need to invest in the relationships around me. And I can very easily get lost in my office for hours at a time and never see the light of day. In fact, I really enjoy that. But I know that I need to open my office door at times. I need to walk slowly to the coffee pot at times. I need to talk to others, especially key people in my life and ministry, and I'm pushing against my natural grain when I'm doing this. Your tendency may be opposite. Maybe you're highly social. Maybe you're an extrovert, or you have a high interpersonal sensitivity, and you find yourself investing in relationships but having trouble moving the ball down the field, or have trouble accomplishing significant tasks on your to-do list. You also need to push against your grain. Maybe you need to make an appointment on your calendar with your name on it. Maybe you need to schedule uninterrupted periods of time with yourself to work on to-do items. You need to push against your grain. Give give it a little willpower and make yourself become a little more structured and productive. The third and last tip that I'm going to share with you in this session is this: establish accountability. You remember those 3 people that you did the first exercise with? That's the people that you want to go back to and ask them to hold you accountable as you move towards healthy balance. God's plan for our lives involves relationships. Relationships for all sorts of things in our lives, including to help us see ourselves more clearly, but especially to bring some accountability to areas that we may be weak in. I need people in my life to help me move closer to relationships. I need them to challenge me to connect more and stretch myself more in the area of relationships. You may need a structured person, a spouse or friend or coworker, to bring more order and to call you out when you're not focusing on the tasks that need to be done. Allow this in your life. I promise you it's going to help you. Whether you're structured or unstructured, utilizing tools such as apps or day planners or other things can really help with productivity, especially, but for somebody like me, I use them also to help manage relationships as well. I actually put reminders in my to-do app to connect with people. And if you're watching on YouTube, I'm just curious. I'd love for you to put in the comments below, what tools do you use for productivity and relationships? And how do you use them? The idea of all of this is that we want to stay out of the ditch. I like to imagine a highway with a drainage ditch on each side of the highway. We don't want to be in the ditch of relationships only, and we don't want to be in the ditch of productivity only. And that doesn't mean that we have to be perfect and walk that center line. We just need to get on the road of healthy, balanced progress and just stay out of the ditch. And so I'll end as I usually do with some practical application questions for you. Number 1, what's one way that you can push against your grain to lean towards either relationships or productivity this week? What's one thing you can do? Number 2, name one person other than a spouse that you will reach out to for accountability on pushing against your grain. If you're watching on YouTube, you can take a screenshot of these questions. If you're listening on podcasts, you can find the questions within the blog on my website. Spend a few minutes processing that over the next few days. In the next session, I'll end this series with an introduction to a thing called life teams that will drastically help in your endeavor to be a relational leader. Thank you so much for giving me your time and attention. Please hit the like button. It really will make a difference. And be sure to visit churchleadermadesimple.com. There's a free 7-session course called Leader Life and Rhythm that you can't find anywhere else. Oh, and by the way, I would greatly appreciate you sharing this content on your favorite social media sites. I promise it does help extend my reach. Hope you have a great day. God bless you.